Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Lifescaping Health Transformation Sessions. Let's talk about your pantry. As you see in this picture, it's nice to have a well-organized pantry, but it's also important to know what type of things to keep in it. If your pantry contains boxes and bags of pre-made foods loaded with flours, starches, and sugars, chances are your body will reflect that. As you see in this picture, filling containers with organic beans, lentils, and all the dry items that we're going to go through is a great idea, and your body will start to reflect your new pantry. For example, cans of organic beans come in handy when you're in a rush. You can open a can and add it to your salad as a protein. A salad with a healthy protein and good oil will help balance your insulin. It's a great step towards good health. Something that isn't shown here is herbs and spices. Get to know new ones. This is what will make your meals special and so tasty. On your salad, you can add fresh basil and cilantro for great flavor. So let's get started. As you go through these videos, you'll learn how fats that we ingest help build our cells, especially our cell walls. These cells need to be pliable for good health. They need to be able to transport oxygen and nutrients in and out, and they also need to be able to detoxify. Eating the wrong fats causes our cells to become rigid and not permeable, causing the cell to develop disease. So eating oils that have been chemically or otherwise changed is one of the main reasons for many diseases, including cancer and dementia. Your brain is 60% fat and you need to keep it healthy. You must choose healthy versions of oils and fats. These may be cold pressed, organic, or naturally derived. The best way to get good fats in your diet is by having them on hand in your house and keeping the bad ones out of the house. So keep things like coconut oil, ghee, or grass-fed butter, organic olive oil, and a supplemental omega-3 oil. Omega-3 is an essential fatty acid, meaning it has to come from your diet. This oil is needed for good heart health and is also very anti-inflammatory. So don't forget to love your omega-3 oil. Other ways of getting good fats and oils is by adding salmon, nuts, seeds, olives, and avocados to your diet. I strongly recommend you don't purchase salad dressing from stores. If you read the label, you'll see that 99% of them contain the wrong oils and they're loaded with sugars. You'll also find ingredients on the label that you have no clue how to pronounce. That's always a bad sign. Instead, buy a salad dressing maker like this one I purchased from Pampered Chef. It has 4 recipes you can follow on each side of the bottle. You can also get a dispenser for oil and vinegar and fill it with a good organic olive oil and a good apple cider vinegar that contains something called mother, which means it contains good bacteria. There are hundreds of salad dressing recipes online. You can follow them, but just change the ingredients to better quality ones if you need to. Try to stay away from anything mass-produced like canola, soy, and corn oil. Anything mass-produced has been manipulated in such a way that the oil is no longer a healthy product. Also, something I haven't mentioned is that oils need to be kept in the refrigerator because they will go rancid very easily. Mayonnaise is the same as dressings. They contain the wrong ingredients. There are some healthier versions, but they do cost a lot. I've given you a recipe in a later slide that you can play with and make your own by adding flavors. You can add stevia to sweeten it if you wish, but adding lime instead of lemon really gives it a good twist. We make it at home and we've used it for all sorts of sauces like garlic sauce, tartar sauce, and steak sauce with tarragon. A good oil to use when making mayonnaise is avocado oil. It has a mild flavor, so it doesn't overpower the taste of your mayonnaise. If you're someone who likes to add soy sauce to your meals, try using tamari sauce. Buy the organic version, it's a better quality product. This sauce is milder than the original soy sauce and it works great in salad dressings, tofu recipes, and on your rice. You'll find that when you start looking for healthy recipes online, they will use this form of soy sauce. It's derived from fermented soybean products, and as you probably heard before, Fermented foods are very important to your health. Commonly purchased iodized salts have synthetic chemicals added to them. These chemicals include things from manufactured forms of sodium solo-coaluminate. Talk about not being able to pronounce an ingredient. It's got iodide, sodium, bicarbonate, fluoride, anti-caking agents, toxic amounts of potassium iodide, and aluminum derivatives. Most table salts is not only unhealthy, but can sometimes be toxic. Replace this salt with a healthier version like a pink Himalayan salt or sea salt. Now, a good sea salt will be gray in appearance as opposed to white. Starches are a refined food. Use them sparingly. They say that we develop intolerances to foods when we eat them over and over again. Take a look at any ingredient list on labels and you will find some sort of corn derivative. Many of you have intolerances to corn and have no clue. Corn is mass-produced and used in many ways in our foods. You get corn in your diet as a thickener, as a sweetener, or just as that sweet vegetable we all remember from our childhood. Great ways to replace cornstarch in your diet is to use arrowroot and tapioca starch. A simple trick when you're making a pie is to put 3 tablespoons of tapioca to thicken it. No need for powdered starches. It works really well, so stay away from the mass-produced corn and start buying things to replace it. Wheat is another mass-produced food. When you bake, there's so many other products you can use other than wheat. When you look for recipes, just Google your recipe with the word paleo in front. Paleo recipes will be wheat-free. On the top left, you have oat flour. Oat flour makes the absolute best waffles. Then there's the buckwheat flour. Buckwheat is not a wheat. I'm not sure how it got its name, but you can buy a light buckwheat flour that makes amazing pancakes. Almond flour and coconut flour you'll find in healthier versions of baking, things like cakes and cookies. Remember that almonds are much higher in protein than wheat flour. Garbanzo is a chickpea flour, and I use it to thicken gravies. All this doesn't mean wheat is not healthy. Wheat can contain a lot of nutrients for our bodies. If you wish to eat wheat, eat the less mass-produced versions. Breads like spelt and kamut are great. Rye flour is a healthy choice as it doesn't spike your insulin as much. Pure bread at the Ottawa Farmers Market have a nice variety of healthy breads. Oh, and don't be fooled by gluten-free store-bought breads and baking of any sort. They usually contain a ton of starch, one of them being corn. Gluten-free doesn't mean healthy. Too much starch will raise your insulin and feed your unwanted yeast and bacteria. As I keep saying, your foods generally have to change to the less mass-produced varieties. These are the ones that are less tampered with. So when it comes to having cereal, don't go buy the instant sugary versions. Try new grains like these ones instead. There's millet flakes, quinoa flakes, and so on. Millet flakes are pretty mild and tasty. Quinoa flakes have a stronger, nuttier flavor, and buckwheat flakes, I haven't tried yet. If you choose to eat oats, find a farmer in your area that grows them organically. They don't taste anything like the stuff you buy in stores. Here in Ottawa, if you look up Castor River Farm, you can find these amazing oats. I strongly suggest you try it. And then another great idea in the morning for a morning cereal is to make your own granola with good oats along with nuts and seeds. Nuts and seeds should be kept in the freezer rather than your pantry. You need to keep them fresh so that the fat in them doesn't become rancid. It's always nice to have some sort of a more starchy type food at least one of the meals throughout the day. You can buy all sorts of roots like celeriac and sweet potato. Wild rice isn't considered a rice and it tastes amazing with coconut oil or butter melted on top. As for quinoa, there are all sorts of recipes online. I have a really good one that I share sometimes on our Facebook group. If you're not crazy about white quinoa, try the red variety. It's a favorite in our home. Keep this portion of your meal small. There is no need to eat a lot of starchy foods, maximum of about half a cup a day. For pasta, it's the same as bread. Look for an organic whole wheat pasta made with ingredients that haven't been manipulated too much. And remember that one portion is only half a cup of cooked pasta. Remember to make the meat portion of this meal the size of the palm of your hand and make sure to add a decent amount of vegetables. Again, you can use kamut or spelt pasta. You can get these in the health aisle of your grocery store. If you choose not to eat gluten, use pastas that don't contain starches like cornstarch or potato starch. Brown rice pasta once in a while is fine. Some stores sell things like black bean pasta, which is a protein. You can also find buckwheat pasta or even lentil pasta. They often are from the organic variety. Remember that if pasta is made of protein, like a bean or a lentil, you don't need a meat, but you want to at least have a full cup of the pasta. This kind of meal should only be had once in a while. It really is a processed food. So just cook it, add your vegetables, and whatever sauce you wish. So it could be a tomato and onion sauce or a basil pesto of some sort. My favorite way to change your pasta to a healthier version is to use vegetables and cut them into pasta. You can buy a spiralizer for zucchini for about $20. I've done the sweet potato ones, but I had to cut them really thin with just a knife. I didn't have the right machine. You have to be careful not to overcook these either, or else they will turn into potatoes. Another great idea is to use a spaghetti squash. If you're plagued with autoimmune problems of any sort, the first two things to take out of your diet is gluten and dairy. Once you heal your gut, you can try to reintroduce them. I've given you ideas for changing your gluten. And as for dairy, take a look at this slide for ideas. There are many non-dairy yogurts and cheese out there, but most of them are made of starch. So choose an organic soy yogurt or soy cheese. Make sure to read the ingredients, as these may contain things that you don't want. For a milk to add to your cereal, almond or coconut are a good choice. Canned coconut milk is found in many healthy recipes that you find online. If you choose to stay away from dairy, look for these to be fortified with calcium, just to make sure you get your calcium. Something to keep in mind is that coconut or almond milk don't contain protein the way that dairy does, but soy products do. So you can get your protein out of the soy products. Let's look at drinks that you can have throughout the day. In general, between meals, you should only have water. So absolutely no flavors for your 5 hours between meals. Immediately after your meal, you can sip on a healthy tea or coffee. To help with digestion, a nice ginger lemon tea is great. As for specialty teas, you can help your liver with its detoxifying duties by having a detox tea or a dandelion tea or a milk thistle tea. On the top right corner, you'll see traditional medicinal teas. Each of these has a purpose. You can buy calm tea for relaxation or smooth move for constipation, and so on. When everyone else is having an alcoholic beverage and you choose not to, a Perrier or a San Pellegrino can do the trick. Stay away from all sugar drinks. These are your pops, sugars, energy drinks, and most smoothies. Remember to read the labels. 4 grams of sugar is, it's equal to about a teaspoon of sugar. A good quality green tea is very healthy for you. It may reduce your risk of heart disease, lower blood pressure, reduce cholesterol levels, reduce inflammation, improve bone density, improve memory, and even prevent cancer. I understand that we all have our little routine and favorite foods, but if you constantly make small incremental changes to your diet, like adding green tea, you can add years to your life. Keep all sugars out of the house so that you're not tempted. For baking, use small amounts of honey or maple syrup, but use them sparingly. Remember, you don't want to raise your insulin levels. If your taste buds can detect sweets, your body reacts accordingly. Many healthier recipes use fruits as a sweetener. I like using both fruits and raw honey. Raw honey contains good bacteria, and as you get deeper into nutrition, you will learn that good bacteria are crucial for good health. So speaking of good bacteria, here are some fermented foods. We'll learn more about these later in the program, but for now, just try getting used to some of them. So I would say a good way to do that is to buy maybe a good kimchi and a good sauerkraut from a health food store. You can buy all sorts of sauerkrauts. My favorite is dill flavored. These must come from the refrigerated area of the store. If they're bought from a store shelf, they've been pasteurized and contain absolutely no bacteria. These foods don't belong in your pantry. They need to be refrigerated. There is sauerkraut, kefir, kimchi, apple cider vinegar, raw honey, and cultured coconut. So buy some of these and start having them with your meals every day. Cultured coconut, by the way, has only been around for a few years, but is one of the best fermented foods available. The company is Canadian and they're doing amazing. They're growing really fast. These should all be available in your health food store. Try to get 2 portions of fermented foods a day and change them up as you go. A good way to start is to have 1 tablespoon of your choice at a meal and work your way up to a 1/4 cup. Have 2 fermented food portions every day. So not only does our body need good bacteria to survive, but these bacteria need to eat. Here's a list of foods that they love to feed on. Try to incorporate some of these every time you eat. This will make the bacteria stronger and more resilient. I recommend you take a picture of this slide so that you have it the next time you go to the grocery store. On this list, I have what's called yakama, and your next slide is a recipe that I included with it. Try to get used to some of these. Keep them in your refrigerator and eat them with every meal that includes fermented foods. That way, your fermented foods will be fed as they go down. This recipe is by Diana Quillian. She calls herself the recipe hacker and comes up with some pretty amazing stuff. You can find a lot of her recipes by Googling Diana Quillian recipes. Again, you may take a picture of this slide for future reference. And here's my mayonnaise recipe also. I hope you try it and find all sorts of variations for it. You can do anything with this recipe that you wish. Look up how to make different kinds of dressings, let's say, that are a white base like that, and just add the spices that they call for. It works great for anything. Thank you. I hope you're starting to understand why eating processed and packaged foods in our stores is no longer an option. If you want to reverse ill health, you need to put the best quality nutrients you can into your body. Remember, your body is your temple. Treat it well, eat only good foods, learn to slow down, breathe deeply, express gratitude, and choose to be happy.